Welcome back to the fighting legend that contains the longest running video game storyline that's ever been written.
Mortal Kombat?
Are you serious?
No, it literally holds a record for the longest running video game storyline. That is none other than Tekken 8, everybody.
Because all the characters are still alive.
No, I mean,
fighting?
there's a video recap in this game that I sat down and watched, and it's like 15 minutes long, and then you watch every single recap of every single game, and the story is very, very surface level, and it's just like, you got this guy named Jin, you got this other guy named something, and then there's like this fighting tournament, and they keep fighting each other for 8 games. But it's still the longest running storyline that's ever existed, apparently. And they hold a record for it. But Tekken 8, why am I playing Tekken 8? Tekken 8 came out last year.
Yeah, what the heck?
But the reason why I'm jumping into it is because it was going to be one of the big games at Dreamhack Dallas that we just came back from that we'll talk about in a later episode in this podcast. Later conversation, segment, thank you. Later segment in this podcast. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get familiar with Tekken 8 because I used to love playing Tekken like at the arcades and like rock out with my buddy King, and we would like freaking go to town and like do all this shit. King's the guy that's got the tiger head or whatever.
Tiger head guy.
Yeah. But so I used to play that back in the day when I go to arcade places, and I was like, you know what? I want to pick this game up. I will admit, this game is fucking expensive. It hasn't dropped in price. It was a $70 game. Ooh, so I spent that money. I spent that money.
I thought you
but
were broke, Brett.
I am broke for World of Warcraft. Yes.
That's it.
But this game has completely redesigned character visuals, very highly built models, built from the ground up with high fidelity graphics that break the limits of new generation hardware, by adding a new weight and atmosphere to Tekken's signature battles. Vivid environments and destructible stages, y'all, combine to create an overwhelming sense of immersion, creating the ultimate experience. Tekken 8 continues that tragic saga of the Mishima and Kazuma's bloodlines and their world-shaking father and son grudge. Oh, they're father and son. I didn't know that. That tells you how much I know about the story.
Yeah,
in this
I see
game,
that.
clearly.
Watch 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, right, right.
This is enough.
Starting from the 6 months after the closure of the last match, the story of Jin Kazama's growth and determination marks a new chapter in the timeless saga. So in this game, there's a whole bunch of different modes you can play from. And you have your campaign mode, which consists of, I think, 15 chapters. Okay. From what I understand, it's about 4 hours long. I'm about 6 chapters in, I think. So I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like getting through it. And it's set up where you like have a chapter. It has like a long cutscene, and then you go in a fight, maybe 2 fights, maybe 3 fights or whatever. And then you go back into like more cutscenes and stuff. And then there is a Tekken Tag is back. I think it's Tekken Tag. Tekken Ball. No, I think it's Tekken Ball. There's a Tekken Ball mode. I don't know if y'all ever heard of this thing.
No.
But it came out in like Tekken 6 or 7, I think. Maybe Tekken 5.
Okay.
But it's basically like a little volleyball. And then instead of you hitting each other, you hit the volleyball to like get it to hit the person. And it's kind of cool and kind of silly. But it's like become a big old thing. It's kind of interesting. And then there is story chapters per character. And the game has like 20 some characters, which is kind of wild. But yeah, Tekken Ball right here. Look at that. You got a little beach volleyball. You kick it, and you got to hit the other person
Rocket
with
League.
it. Yeah, it's basically Rocket League. You know, it's awesome. But you also have one of the probably the biggest like cool new things is this thing called arcade mode. And arcade mode is basically you have this little like Nintendo looking avatar character that you get to create yourself.
Okay.
And you get to walk around not a real life, but an in-game arcade in Japan. And you meet all your little friends or all these little kids that are hanging around that also like love Tekken. And when you're in the arcade, you like talk to your buddy and he's like, yo, we're going to play Tekken. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's play some Tekken. So you go sit down on a console, and this is like kind of the training, the tutorial essentially of the game. So they teach you some of the new features and stuff like that as you progress, and you level up your character to get higher and higher ranking and do more intense battles. So it's very quick and fast to get in there, but there's basically 3 story campaigns in here. There's the main story campaign, there's the Tekken arcade campaign, and then there's the stories or the character specific campaigns. So it's a pretty good amount of content. I was pretty impressed with it. And when you're fighting in this game, it's similar to Mortal Kombat in that there's a lot of emphasis on combos. But they've introduced something new to this game that makes it way more approachable and easy to kind of get the grasp of the game.
Yeah, you were telling me about this.
Yes. So you can press L1 on your controller, and it switches to this mode that instead of having to know all the combos for stuff, you just press one of 4 buttons on your controller to activate a random combo for that type of attack. So you can have a low attack, you can have an air attack, you can have a power attack, or you can have a whatever attack.
Or you just
just button smash, and you get you badass combos and shit. And it looks so cool. And then eventually, if you want to, all you have to do is just press L1. It toggles back to the combo mode. So you could also like kind of mix and match as you're playing. So you're like, oh, I just want to like button smash some attacks. So you button smash some attacks and then switch to L1 to execute like one crazy combo and then go back. You can do that seamlessly as you're playing through the game, which I thought was pretty interesting. They also have this new thing called a heat system. And the heat system is basically kind of like your equivalent of like a fatality or whatever from not fatality necessarily, but it's that kind of idea from Mortal Kombat where you build up this meter that builds up heat. And eventually, once you get a certain level of the meter filled up, you can activate the heat mode. And that for about 5 to 10 seconds will activate much higher powered attacks. That lets you do a lot more damage. But you can also counter those and block them just like you can block like a special attack inside of Mortal Kombat. So you can do that as well. And there's also a mechanic where if you get low in health, you can activate what's called like Heat Art, I believe is what the name of it is. And that gives you like a super powered, like kind of hardcore attack to try and get one last ditch effort at beating the enemy. But then they can also block that and then come back and hit you.
Okay,
so there's a whole combo. Yeah, it's like Mortal Kombat. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of different types of combos and ways you can do increased power on the enemy based off of like the different combo moves and whether you're in heat or not and all that different stuff. So it's been really interesting to jump in and play it. I haven't played Tekken in like probably since Tekken 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's been a long ass time. And it's very different from Mortal Kombat in that this is way more flashy and showy. Mortal Kombat's like super intense and like super bloody and gory, but more grounded. This one's also actually grounded. I feel like I never have to jump in this game. Like there's no like jumping mechanic. I mean, there is a jumping mechanic, but like I feel like you don't jump. You just like run up to somebody and you have to basically it's like the gameplay loop is more making sure you hit the opponent before they hit you and then timing your attacks and move backs every once in a while to like avoid a dodge mechanic. I haven't figured out the block yet. There's apparently a block in this damn game. I don't know where it is. It's not in the menu anywhere. I can't figure it out.
Which one do you prefer, Mortal Kombat 1 or this?
I think I still like Mortal Kombat 1 better.
Okay.
Yeah, just 'cause I'm more familiar with all the characters in that. And I think the fatalities are really cool.
Yeah.
Much more intense and gory. There's some really badass action shots in here, but a lot of them are just kind of like a bunch of flashy lights
stuff.
and crazy stuff on the screen. But I think there's a interesting like skill ceiling here. If you like really get into learning it, like when we were at Dreamhack, I'll talk about it more later, but like we were watching these Tekken tournaments and I was like, this shit's crazy. Like this is really, really cool to watch. And you just kind of get an understanding of how people, because there's ways you can get like health back too, which I don't even know how that works yet. But characters can like get health back,
and then you have a chance to like do damage to the other opponent, and it starts you start getting health to a certain degree. You can't go up all the way. Like you'll see when someone gets hit, there's like a little bar that's open. So if you can stop being hit and then hit them, you'll get your health back.
I think what I like about this one is the destructible environment around it.
Yeah.
Which Mortal Kombat had that. I know they used to have like you break through and go to a different arena.
Yeah.
They didn't do that in the last one. I was just like, why didn't they do that?
Yeah. I am surprised. I mean, I haven't honestly noticed it as much. Like when I read this, I was like, oh, I guess there is destructible environments in here. I didn't notice as much because you're so focused on like the action in front of your screen, but
for like people watching,
it is neat. Yeah.
Like doing a couch co-op, just people partying it up, watching.
It makes for a cool thing.
It's a cool like thing to see.
Yeah. There's a lot of different arenas in this, a lot of characters. Every character plays pretty different, which has been neat to see. And like that arcade mode, I think is a really cool addition because it helps you like slowly build an understanding. Because like I jumped in the story mode and I was getting my ass kicked about level like chapter 4 or 5. So that's when I was like, let me go back to the arcade.
Yeah. And
in the arcade, it's like they're literally teaching you as you go. So you're getting a little bit harder and harder challenges, but there's a nice ramp up there that I really appreciated. So I learned how to do some air combos and I learned how to do, how to activate the heat meter at the right times and all those different things. But it's a cool game. I mean, they did a great job with it. It's definitely, it's a tight fighting game and it runs really well. And I would say if it's in comparison to Mortal Kombat, it's just different, you know?
Yeah.
It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit faster than Mortal Kombat and a little bit flashier for sure.
Goofier.
A little goofier for sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a part where like my character becomes a devil and has wings and flies up in the air and just like launches like attacks at the other enemy, and just it's zany and silly. But it's a good game. I'm digging it so far.
Yeah.
What are you playing on?
PlayStation 5. Okay. Yeah. So if y'all want to play sometime,
Yeah.
we'll have to get a game together. We'll do a little Mortal Kombat with some Homelander, and now that he's out, we'll do a little bit of Tekken, you know.
Honestly, I just rather watch these high level people play. It was fascinating.
It is amazing though. Like when you do the whatever the mode is called that makes it simpler, like it's pretty fun because you can do some cool stuff there.
Nice.
And kind of get a feel for the game without having to like try and screw around trying to find combos, and you're just doing a basic punch.
Nice.
Yeah.
So whenever I play Tekken at the arcade and stuff, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I could see this being awesome with a fight stick.
yeah.
But yeah, Tekken 8, y'all, if it's not going to probably go down in price anytime soon because it's Tekken, people are still playing the shit out of it, but it's a good game, and I thoroughly enjoy it. If you're into fighting games, I think it's worth picking up. So check it out.